Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, October 14th. So we had a lot of wind last week, and I didn't do any fishing. I actually moved around a lot of people, and it's really cool when people are flexible and they understand weather and all that good stuff. So those are the best clients, I'll be honest with you. They understand fishing, they understand the weather, they understand that things are out of my control. So, and I've just been it's like I go through phases with this stuff. I get really good groups of clients that really understand fishing and what it's like. And those clients are the ones that have the best time and catch the most fish. And that's the truth. The reason why I'm talking about this, I was just going back through my logbooks this morning, looking at clients' names and the trip. And it's kind of like, it's so funny, but I have really no sense of time. So the only thing that kind of keeps me in check is my fishing calendar and when I go to certain fishing spots. Because a fishing spot, for some reason in my brain, I can remember 5 to 6 years fishing a particular spot. And who was with me, what the conditions were at that certain time. It all comes back to me when I get on the boat and I head out there and I go fish a certain spot. And every time you touch a rod, it seems like, for me personally, that all these memories go through my head. So it's something I can remember everything that's happened to me on that boat and in certain conditions. It's really bizarre, but I'm sure a lot of you guys feel that way. It's like a rod and a reel is your best memory book of pictures visually it's kind of like one of those movies where you touch something and it's like all of a sudden you have these flashes that are coming through your brain of certain pictures and fish and memories of people over the course of time. I don't know what it is about it, but for me, that's the way I feel when I go out there. So, and I'm sure a lot of other guys feel the same. So it's kind of like, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's also like blood stains on a shirt. And that's part of the reason why, I mean, honestly, it's kind of, what's the word for it? Like my motto is every blood stain on a shirt has a story. And that's why I keep like all my lucky white bloody ass t-shirts. So they stay with me because it just reminds me of, who I am personally and how I started. And I hold true to the values of who I am. And it's only taken so many years to kind of figure that out, is that I need to it's like I stay in my own lane when it comes to the fishing. I don't partner with anybody, and I don't care who they are or what kind of reputation they have. Partnerships in fishing never work, okay, from what I've seen. And when they go on for a couple years and all of a sudden something changes, okay? And it's kind of funny, but that's just how things go. Things look really pretty on the surface sometimes, especially with Instagram nowadays. They give you this visual picture that everything's fine. Well, I can tell you personally that it's not, okay? Because I know what goes on. And that's why I choose to stay in my own lane and not partner with anybody. Because I get asked a lot, and the client that asks me usually doesn't have very good luck with me. Is that when the fishing's kind of weird or slow, it's the client that asks me, don't you have anybody to call? What do you want me to do? Phone a friend? And I did like that Slumdog Millionaire show at the Slumdog Millionaire and that old show with Regis Philbin. What the hell? Everybody wants to be a millionaire or whatever. Who wants to be a millionaire? But it's the movie Slumdog Millionaire comes to my mind more with phone a friend. So just because it's like all those memories in your brain, if you've never seen that movie, everything builds up over the course of time, and it's just if you've never seen it, you should. But it's really good. But so it's kind of, Melinda and I laugh about it. What do you want me to do? Phone a friend? And the last thing I'm going to be doing is sharing certain things with other captains. It's just how I roll, man. I stay in my own lane. I'm okay with it because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I had partnered with a captain. Okay? And I tried some relationships. They never work. They never worked. And somebody was always out to get something. There's always some sort of underlying thing going on. And I was like, I just don't need any of that shit in my life. And that's the truth. So I stay in my own lane. I'm out of the water as much as I can. And I have a really good logbook. And I know what's happening with the fishing. Okay. So I don't need to phone a friend. I don't need to know. So I don't need to call Buddy on the radio. And I talk about a little bit about this stuff in my ebook. So I talk about some of the things that happened to me when I moved here, and why I really wanted, why deep down I started this podcast. And you can download the ebook. It's available on my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com. The ebook's got some really cool stuff as far as some fishing tips too, as far as using speedos. Yeah, it's just and then when you sign up, you're automatically signed up for the newsletter. So I don't sell your information about or anything like that. So the newsletter just keeps you informed of what's happening with Good Karma Sport Fishing and some projects that I'm working on. I'm not going to spam you like Nomad Lures does. I just got another spam email from Nomad telling me asking me if I'm tired of catching, if I wanted to catch mahi-mahi on artificial baits. Oh my God, I am so sick of seeing the Nomad shit in my Facebook feeds that it drives me not to use their lures, honestly. So it just drives me absolutely crazy. So it's funny. So I guess anyway, so I just went off on a tangent there. So it's so annoying. But anyway, so I got to unsubscribe to that because it driving me crazy. But anyways, I don't even know why or how they even signed me up, to be honest with you. So I came out and said how some of their lures fall apart and their hooks rust after a couple tries. So anyways, enough with Nomad. I've talked about them in the past. But anyway, so download the ebook. It's pretty cool. And get on my mailing list you can get signed up to find out what's happening with Good Karma Sport Fishing. I've always got some sort of project going on. I'm working on a drone project right now. So my confidence level was a little down with the drone, but I'm getting there with it. So hopefully I can get some good stuff for you guys to see here in the future. And so I want to talk about fishing yesterday in depth. So I don't get a lot of time to fish on my own anymore because I'm busy, which is great. But I really love to go out fishing by myself. And that's honestly how I found numerous mutton spots, was because I trolled. And I trolled for many years, and I just kept hitting the waypoints. So I took that time off and I talked about that, where I went dark for a couple years from social media, and I went back and I just quit wahoo fishing. I quit. I did some live bait. I live bait fished, and I quit trolling. I absolutely quit. I didn't hardly do any of it. And I was okay with it because, man, I took those couple years off and I shut off everything and I worked at it. And now I'm completely glad that I did, because now I see the mahi-mahi fishery in decline. And that's something else that's, going to be coming up here pretty soon with NOAA Fisheries, because they're really pressing that reduction in mahi limits. And I would look for that to happen this year. So what's happened is that, I'm not going to get into that, but there's something going on out there, like I talked about, where there's a lot of small fish around. And, some guys caught some big fish this year, but I have to tell you, I went back through my logbooks, and it's not consistent. Not consistent. There were some big bulls caught, but, it was really rough. It's always like pre-storm or really rough out, or somebody found a log. Don't let anybody fool you. It's one little trick that you guys can do is that if somebody is laying out fish on their table and they have triple tail with them and a couple big gaffers, they found a log. So, and anybody can find a log on any given day out there, guys. There's no skill involved in that. So you just got to get really lucky. So, and have really good eyesight. And that's another little tip for you guys that I want to talk about today is dolphin fishing and sight fishing. So a couple things that I had to do was I had to get bifocals. My eyes are good, but I went ahead and got bifocals. And that's really increased my vision. And it was just enough to where I was like, yeah, I'm getting older. The sun is really putting a hurt on me. So I went and got some good bifocals. And that alone will set you up a little bit better to find birds and visually on the water. Now, there is an investment in good bifocal sunglasses, and you gotta like pick the right glasses as well. So a good quality glass. Not a fan of Costa Del Mar's anymore because I've had way too much luck, and there's a reason why all that shit's getting pushed social media wise by fishermen, because fishermen get a good rate on that stuff. And when I was using Costa Del Mar, sorry, I can't pronounce it, whatever, if I'm stumbling, is that the glasses fall apart now. So I use Mahi Gems because they're just better quality glass, and I really like the lenses. But I'm not sponsored by them either, so I have to pay for those glasses. And my bifocals cost me almost $1,200, okay, for good glasses. And they really do make a difference. Now, another thing that not a lot of guys talk about, but if you really want to improve your sight fishing for dolphin, is you need to get something black underneath your T-top. If you have a white T-top, then that might be hurting you, and cut down on as much reflection on the boat as possible. That's part of the reason why I have a blue deck, okay? Because the sun doesn't reflect off. So it cuts down on the glare. So you got to cut down on the glare in order to see things. So I have a black T-top. I have a black T-top for a reason, because it cuts down on sun reflection, and my visibility of what I can see as far as birds is increased. Okay, having a white deck, I don't know. I get it. It's all pretty and it keeps your feet warm. It keeps your everything cool. But honestly, if you're gonna like increase your vision and see more, you need to like have more of a dark color. You need to have a black T-top. You need to cut down the sun reflection as much as you can in order for you to see. Now, those guys that fish with me know what my vision's like and what I can see and how I do it. And you guys know who you are, and I can see a lot. And that's another secret to dolphin fishing. You got to have eyes like an eagle and know what to look for. You got to look for all these little signs out there. And I don't do much talking when I'm on a dolphin trip because I'm visually intent on finding things. So, and that's another thing. If you got to look for the subtleties in the water, there's just a lot more to just going out there and driving around, hoping you find a log. There's a little bit of science to it. And the guys that are really good, they know they cut down the flare. Then they have bifocals, and the bifocals by far are going to really help you. So if you really want to like take it to another level, get yourself a pair of polarized bifocals, and that's what I would highly recommend because that will help you tremendously. Okay. Now I had good eyesight to begin with. And what I found was that the older that I got, my eyesight wasn't all that great anymore when I was younger because the sun kills you. So when I made that switch to bifocal several years ago, it was just night and day difference. So good bifocals for dolphin fishing, guys. For any type of fishing. You can see just subtleties out there. You can see things that are submerged under the water, slight ripples on the water that anybody would pass over. And there's a lot of stuff out there, and you just got to be like really be tuned in on what you're looking for, and the bifocals are going to help you, along with that dark top T-top. Okay, the black T-top is essential, and that's like I said. I went with the blue deck because the blue deck cuts down on the sun glare. Okay, and it just makes it visually I can see more. Because white reflects, and it's like it turns into like some sort of and it does something with your eyes. You just can't see as much unless you're in a tower. So, I'm just trained to be looking in different situations, and my eyes adjust to how I'm visually looking for birds and so forth. And that's something that I go over with my clients when I'm out on the water. So on how I do that, but yeah, so that's really today. I just kind of babbled on a little bit, but there's a few tips in there for the guys that really want to improve on looking for birds and without having the, if you're buying the binoculars, you can't be driving around with binoculars strapped to your head. So your best thing to do is get the bifocals. So, and trying to think of anything else here. Oh, I talked about the yellowtail fishing in my. Make sure if you're yellowtail fishing, then that you download the Good Karma Sport Fishing app. So the bites that I'm getting right now this week for wahoo, that's what I want to talk about. The bites that I'm getting right now for wahoo are coming off dead ballyhoo. So I told you there was going to be a shift. So I didn't see one bite on my halcos this week off my planer. That's what's been prior to all the wind, that's what's been the key. So this week coming back, I'm seeing the bites on the ballyhoo now more so than than the halco. I didn't get one wahoo bite out of, I think, this week off a down bait, nor did I get a bite off of the bait strip. So just let you guys know that I run off the planer. So I got the bite, and I tried the bait strip on the flat line too, and I didn't get a bite. The bites came on dead ballyhoo and the double rig ballyhoo, and I do have a new course available for the guys that want to learn exactly how I do it. There's lots of videos out there on YouTube, but not for this rig. So I walk you through a lot of different stuff, and it's worth it for the guys that want to get better, okay? So I think the cost for that video is $49, and you can find that in the Good Karma Fishing Tackle store. And I also put in the Good Karma Fishing Tackle store are the replacement hooks for the halcos, and I have a link in there for where to buy the halcos from, because halco lures are getting very hard to find right now. So, which happens every year. A lot of people, it's just, I guess from what I learned about halco, there's some distribution problems with that product, getting it from Australia to here. So they're just tough to find sometimes. So I have a link in my tackle store for those guys that want to order the halco bait fish. So you can, the 190 lure that I use, and that's and I also put the titanium, links for some titanium wire in there as well in the Good Karma Fishing Tackle.com store, and the replacement hooks, owner hooks that I use. I don't use those halco hooks, man. Those things get swapped out with owner hooks, so you can find that in the that product as well in my tackle store, GoodKarmaFishingTackle.com. Guys, I've got to go. It was a hodgepodge podcast today, so yeah, just want to talk about a few things, and sign up for the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast Facebook group. We got a special shout out to Brian Wallace for bringing the idea of Fish Story Fridays. I got some cool stuff planned for that. Special thank you to the guys that are sending me those nice emails. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And those guys that signed up for the rigging crew. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Going to be a fun group. That's it. Download the app, the Good Karma Sport Fishing app. Got some cool stuff coming. Follow me on Instagram. Find out what I'm catching. My Instagram handle, if you're not following me already, is Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. That's it. Thanks for listening. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.